Hello, I'm going to describe and walk you through how to use the AutoProject's ARM64 OPNFV pod for ONAP development of components on ARM64 architecture. This is just a demo on how to get started and how to set up servers, virtual servers on this platform. So the first thing you need to do is to get credentials to access the UNH Interoperability Lab. That's University of New Hampshire. You contact Parker or nfv-lab@iol.unh.edu. They'll give you OpenVPN credentials to access the lab. You're going to need to get an OpenVPN client to run on your laptop or desktop. There are a bunch of options for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. I'm using Mac OS. I use a program called Viscosity. So the first thing you do is you log into the jump host. This is a host that sets up OPNFV and it's always available. The OPNFV OpenStack environment can sometimes be get reinstalled, but the jump host generally stays pretty constant. So to do that, once you have your credentials, you SSH to Ubuntu at 10.10.50.12. The password is Ubuntu. That will get you onto the jump host. And from the jump host, you log into the primary controller. You do a sudo ssh-i var-lib opnfv-mcp.rsa, and it's going to be at 172.16.10.35. There are 3 controllers in a high availability deployment of OPNFV, and 35 is the IP address that floats between those controllers and is assigned to the primary controller. So I'll log in there, and then I will source Keystone RCv3. This gives me OpenStack credentials, and first thing I'm going to do is just check really quickly to see what servers are already there. OpenStack. Well, first thing I'll do is I'll do what we say in the demo. I'm going to create an ONAPDevStack.yaml. This creates basically a simple VM that has Java and Maven installed, and then can be used to do basic development of. It's a starting point to do basic development for ONAP components. Then when you've got that running, you can SSH into the server. Actually, what I'm going to start instead is a Jenkins slave created by the integration project. This is another OpenStack template. In this top directory on the controller, there is ONAPDevStack.yaml and ONAPJenkinsStack.yaml. I'll use the ONAP Jenkins stack in this case to create a Jenkins demo. So I'm going to copy and paste most of that line, and then I'm going to give it a unique name, ONAP Jenk demo. That's going to start using heat template to create some networks and various little bits of resources to wrap around the VM that we're going to use. And then it will run a cloud init script and install the Jenkins bootstrap. So I'm going to start that up. In the meantime, I'll show you other things that you can do to access this space. If you want to look at the OpenStack Horizon dashboard, that is at 10.10.50.103. And that is actually https://10.10.50.103. That should come up here in a second. The other thing is I have already created, I've already created previously a Jenkins stack because it takes a little bit of time for the bootstrap to run and the the OpenStack stack create to run. So I'm going to go into a dashboard, a Jenkins dashboard that I already created. I'm going to refresh this. This is at 10.10.50.122. So the public address of my VM is 10.10.50.122. The Jenkins slave is running on port 8080, and I'm going to go right to that. And I believe that will take me to a login, because there's a little bit of a strange piece here. Yeah, once you're logged in, this is a little bit confusing, but once you're logged in, you'll get a blank screen. So the first thing that you get, the login is Jenkins user and the password is Jenkins. So I log in. When I log in, it takes me to a blank screen. I go back to login. I don't know why it takes me to a blank screen. I go back to login and I click My Views. And see here, there is a big dashboard with all sorts of ONAP components that you can launch builds by clicking in the right to schedule a build. If we do that for, let's say we want to do it for clamp. I don't know how clamp goes. I haven't tried that one yet. So build is scheduled. If I scroll up, I can see that that build is running. You can go in here and look at the console output, and you can see various pieces are running in the clamp build. If I go back to the project and I back to the dashboard, nope, that's not where I want to go. Status, that's not where I want to go. Well, let's not worry about that. So this gives you the ability to I'll go back through the top and look at my views. We can see that I tried to build Docker appc and that failed. We already know sort of what that failure is. We're tracking that down. If I built Java appc, not the Docker component, but just the images, that succeeded. Java appc deployment succeeded, and this clamp is, where's clamp? You can see it's running right now, and you can dive in and look at it. So we see here that our ONAP stack that we created has finished running. If we go back here and look at how you SSH into the server, I'm going to do an OpenStack server list. That's going to give me a description of all the servers that are running, and one of them is going to be called OnapDevDemo, and then OnapDev, and then some other pieces. The CLI is a little bit slow. It's not super fast. So OnapDemo, ONAP, that's the server that we just created, and the public address, so its private address is 10.10.10.4, its public address is 10.10.50.126. So if I do a ssh-i onap key.pem, this is our private key, it's sitting in this top directory, and I log into Ubuntu at 10.10.50.126. We have SSH keygen. Sometimes the keys will be there. I try that again. Yes, I'm logging in, and I'm on, and everything is fine. So the last piece here, though, is we can see it says here that the Jenkins slave is running. You need to wait for the Jenkins slave to be available, and it's basically still running some initialization scripts. tailf var log cloud-init output.log. We can see it's still installing software. This takes probably 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes perhaps, depending on whether it's a good day or a bad day. It's downloading a bunch of stuff from the internet. Depending on the load, it can take longer or shorter to install all this software and run all this initialization stuff. This is running essentially the bootstrap.sh program that sets up the Jenkins slave that was created by the integration project for ONAP. That basically then presents this, this Jenkins slave runs and presents this dashboard. So the dashboard we're looking at on the web up here is from a Jenkins slave that I launched previously, and this tail-f is showing us the progress of the Jenkins slave that we're launching right now. So that is basically the gist of it. When this Jenkins slave is all done running, you'll get something. The last thing that cloud-init will put out is cloud-init running modules final, blah, 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 finished at some time that was finished. That Jenkins slave is using local ONAP proxies, or not ONAP, local Nexus proxies or Nexus repositories that are running on Lab as a Service servers nearby in the UNH lab. Those are running on x86 servers. So our server that's running is basically an ARM server that we're running development tools on, and it's accessing a Nexus 2, Nexus 3 local repository running on an x86 server next door in the lab. And that's a sort of minor fine detail that will generally be taken care of by the lab management folks or the site management folks for this Auto ARM pod. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, joe.kidder@fifthLayer.com. That's 5thlayer.com. I work with the Auto project, and I manage this site, so I can help if you have any troubles. Thanks very much.